BWOne here at BWOne.com, and it's time to give you my unboxing and review of the Samsung Transform for Sprint. Now this phone in particular is pretty much the middle child of the Samsung phones with Android on Sprint. This is sort of the bigger brother to the Intercept and the little brother or the middle brother to the Epic 4G. So let's unbox it here, and here's the phone itself. We'll get to that in just a second. And we'll see here, we'll open up, see what else we have. Alright, looks like this to be manuals, guides, instructions, and things of that nature. We have the battery here. This is a 15 milliamp hour battery that'll give you a talk time of about 6 hours and a standby time of about 350 hours. But you know, on average with most smartphone usage, you know that it's probably going to be a little bit less than that. So you'll probably look at about, I would say, probably heavy user a day to a day and a half, and moderate user probably maybe a couple of days or so. Alright, there's your USB cable. This is a micro USB cable, and that'll plug into your computer or into this wall charger here. This is a USB wall charger as well. And looks like this is the micro SD card adapter, so you can take the SD card out of your phone and put it in right to your card reader inside your computer. It does come with a pre-installed 2 GB card. And that's pretty much it for accessories. So what's inside the box here? So let's take a quick tour around. Okay, let's take a quick tour around the hardware of the Samsung Transform. So on this side we have the volume buttons. It's a little volume rocker. On the bottom we have a microphone port. On this side we have the camera button, speakerphone, and power button. On the top here we have our 3.5mm headphone or headset jack, and we have the micro USB port here, and there's a nice little slide door to protect it. Pretty nice feature there. On the back we have a 3 megapixel camera with flash. We have the speakerphone port right here, and if we pop the battery door like that, take a look here on this side, you will see right here is the micro SD slot. It's right there on the side, and it does have a pre-installed 2 GB card inside of it. It does support up to 32 GB. So it's right back on like that. And we'll take a look here on the front, and on the top we have a front-facing camera. We have a 3.5-inch screen that does 320 by 480 resolution. On the bottom we have touch-sensitive buttons, and your typical Android buttons from menu, home, back, and search. And if you slide up, there you go, a nice little 4-row QWERTY keyboard. Pretty cool, a little compact, not as big as Epic 4G, not as many customizable buttons, but it's nice. And the keys are they're not really raised, they're kind of set down into on each individual bay, but there's enough separation around you can tell between which keys that you're typing. So that's pretty cool there. The phone itself is pretty light. You can see it sort of has like a nice chrome finish around it, with sort of plastic on the front, and the back itself is a sort of a hard plastic as well. Internally it does come with an 800 MHz processor. Built in there is 181 megabytes of memory. Obviously install your programs and stuff like that. It does come with Android 2.1. I believe in Android 2.2 you can then install programs on the SD card, but this is Android 2.1 in this one. It does come with Bluetooth 3.0. It has EVD over Vision A 3G data. It does come with Wi-Fi up to wireless N, so it has BGNN wireless inside of it. And other than that, all around pretty good hardware specs. It does come with GPS as well, obviously, too. So the next thing we're going to do is going to power it up. We're going to play around with it for a couple of days here, and we're going to see how well all this hardware works with the software on the Samsung Transform for Sprint. Okay, after using the Samsung Transform for a couple of days here, it's pretty interesting. Bit of a mixed bag on how I kind of feel about it. Take a look at the software here. It does run Android 2.1. It pretty much, for the most part, a stock Android experience until you have to use the Sprint IDs, which is this here, right here. Sprint ID is basically sort of how HTC Sense works with their different scenes, where you can have one for work, travel, play, you know, different types of events. Depending on what you're doing during the day, you can kind of switch it around. these Sprint IDs kind of work in the same way, where it installs specific applications and widgets according to which ones you want to install. When you go to Get New, let's go to Get New here. You can see kind of sort of old Android market sort of interface look, and you can install different packs and such like that, from Yahoo to small business. You have different entertainment. You can have I think there's one for EA, which is like gaming and stuff like that. But all the games are sort of trials and stuff, and you can search for different ones, and you can install them, which you're required to install at least one when you first turn on the phone. And I can understand where they're going with it, but it definitely hinders the Android experience a little bit. You can see here it makes it a little bit slow when swiping between different desktops. You have pre-installed widgets and applications, some of which you might not even really want. You get your typical Android application installed. Really weird that it has sort of the older Android app drawer, and it has the newer icon and the newer bar down here at the bottom, which is also pretty weird. It for the most part, I would definitely say, if you're gonna get this phone, to try to avoid these. It really kind of clutters up the Android experience. It kind of brings on sort of what's kind of the problem with some of the the older computers when back in the XP and even Vista days, where they would just load too much preloaded software and it would just kind of bog things down. This is kind of the same thing here. I would definitely leave it on the if you can, on the My ID, the stock one here, which I'll go back to. Overall, the hardware is good. It's definitely good from Samsung. They really did create a really good phone that isn't too far of a step down from the Galaxy S series of phones, but you can tell the difference between them. But you do get a good keyboard. You do get a pretty decent screen, decent battery life, and decent quality build. I definitely have to say that. I would definitely say where the interference of this phone kind of comes into play is definitely Sprint IDs. Other than that, I think it's at $149 with a contract right now. With the Epic 4G at $249, there's a bit of a decent enough price difference where you can kind of debate between getting one or the other. I would like to see this phone maybe a little bit less. I would probably wait to maybe it's around the $100 to $50 range or so. Then I could see this being sort of a value phone, especially with the Epic 4G out. In comparison to this, it really just isn't a great comparison between the two. The Epic 4G just kind of trumps this in all areas. And I'm not saying that this is necessarily a bad phone. It's just that I think with the Sprint IDs, it kind of hinders it a lot. And I think if it was just a stock Android experience with just a few extra little apps added on to it, and it was a little bit lower, maybe around the $100 range, I definitely could recommend this phone as a sort of a low-end Android experience. Just to get an Android phone in somebody's hands, especially if they're new to the smartphone market, that'd probably be really something good for them to have. Step up, I would say, from the BlackBerry. You wanted to get in sort of a more robust operating system. Definitely, I would recommend this, but at a little bit lower of a price tag, I would definitely say. But other than that, I want to thank Sprint for allowing us to review this. Like I said, Samsung for allowing us to review this. Like I said, this is a good hardware, definitely good hardware, but it's just hindered by some of the things that Sprint added on to it. So Samsung, good job. Sprint, I think you need to take Sprint IDs back to the drawing board. So this is BWOne here from BWOne.com, reminding you to subscribe to our YouTube page. Click the link in the description. You'll get a full write-up, and you'll get some pictures of the Samsung Transform as well. Follow us on Twitter, and always remember to live your tech world in high definition.